Today is the long run test for the Adidas Adizero Adios Pro. Hey cats, EDDBUD here. It's the long run test today for the Adidas shoe that's on everybody's lips. I mean, everybody's feet. Nah, still not right. Well, it's certainly appearing on lots of podiums right now, and it's been sadly underused in my collection thus far. So I thought today, let's take it out on the long run. 14 miles today then in the Adidas Adizero Adios Pro. It's about 22.5 kilometers, an average of 7 minutes 19 seconds per mile pace, which is about 4 minutes 33 per kilometer. Average heart rate was about 151 beats per minute today. I think round about mile 10 I started to get some crazy zany readings from the Forerunner 245 that I recently purchased, so I think I might have to go back to using the Polar OH1 Plus. I think I'll just get some slightly more believable readings. I think with sweat and with my bony Skeletor type wrists, those heart rate sensors that work on the wrist measurement just don't seem to give me some reliable readings over longer distances. So a bit of a shame really that I didn't get that measurement today on the long run, but especially after I guess the marathon and the issues I had last week with the Apple Watch. But hey, at least it recorded it properly this time. So weather was about 12 Celsius today, which is about 54 Fahrenheit. A relatively flat route, about 130 meters of elevation gain, which equates to about 453 feet. So a reasonably long test today between tempo and threshold zones, for me at least. I certainly blew out the cobwebs on a week where really I was mainly recovering after my marathon efforts last Sunday. So I did scale the miles back a bit. I think we're on about 40 miles over the course of this week. As I say, no issues on timing. The watch worked perfectly, maybe aside from those zany heart rate readings. Everything else was fantastic. I'm really enjoying that Forerunner 245. I would like to say thank you to all of you who did put your recommendations forward to me. Probably going to go with the 245 now for a little while and wait and see if there's an update to the 945, perhaps a 955 in the very near future. But I'm certainly enjoying the Garmin experience so far. So the energy rods certainly did the job today. Bach fam, a viewer of the channel, it was really nice to get the energy rods back out. I knew that you were a bit disappointed that they didn't deliver, but they did today. I did spend a little bit of time flexing the shoe before I used it today. What I noticed was actually when you flex it, it only really flexes in this point round about here. I think that's just about where the rods end. Certainly quite a rigid shoe. I forgot just how rigid it was. I think I'll start with the upper actually. It really did perform fantastically well today. I really do like this Celamesh material that Adidas are using in not only this shoe but also the Adizero Pro. I think it's a similar type material in the Takumi Sen as well, that Celamesh material, and the extra lacing options really do make this shoe stand out in terms of the upper. Definitely one of the best that I've used so far in 2020. I think it's certainly the best looking candidate this year, don't you? Lacing wise today I did opt for a runner's knot, and there is a reason behind that. As I said, this shoe is much more rigid, and I did opt for the Adidas Alpha Skin socks also, just providing a little bit of extra padding. The runner's knot and those socks gave me a superb lockdown. I really did just forget about the shoes after a while. They just melted away during that run today. No rubbing whatsoever, no slipping in the heel area here, even though we've got no real heel counter. Just no discomfort whatever. I did clock in around about 1 hour 35:31 for the half marathon distance, which, you know, isn't hugely far off my personal best. So I have to say that upper performed admirably well today, just as good as I remembered it in the Adizero Pro, because it's pretty much the same upper. Onto midsole now, and there's a lot of it in this shoe. In fact, there's a ridiculous amount of midsole in this shoe. It really is bonkers. I think the Light Strike Pro seems to have mellowed out a little bit. After those initial runs, I wasn't totally blown away by this shoe, but it's certainly warming up. Certainly kept the cadence high today, 170 plus throughout the whole run. Stride length is about 4.23, which is pretty much what I'd expect to see over the course of this type of effort. There seemed to be a little more of a compressive feel out of the foam today. I looked back through my notes that I made after my initial runs, but it certainly seemed a lot more compressive today. I don't know whether those initial runs mellowed it out a little bit perhaps. I don't recall that same feel before, but it's definitely a welcome difference. It did feel like quite a different shoe today. Maybe those thicker socks helped a little bit, or perhaps it was in fact the higher pace that I adopted on today's run. Perhaps the shoe just feels better at those much higher paces, maybe a little less contact time on the ground. I just felt the shoe was a lot more stable all round really across the 14 miles. I felt a little bit more of a connection with the shoe that I didn't feel on my first couple of runs. Gotta say, overall a very comfortable and forgiving ride. The legs feel superb afterwards. Maybe that slightly faster pace today was enough to make the shoe kind of key points and strengths perhaps come to the fore. Yes, it's a little bit heavier than the Vaporfly Next Percent, or perhaps even the Fuel Cell RC Elite, but I didn't really notice the weight difference at all today. Outsole now. There was many a meandering walker on my route today. They were out ensuring I was kept on my toes. A few dives into some gravel and some mud did actually reveal some really great grip from the Adizero Adios Pro, although grass should be avoided. I think the more and more I've used the shoe, in fact, the better and better the outsoles become. It's certainly a lot more tactile now, quite smooth to begin with, but it's almost like the environment that I've used the shoe on is actually shaping the traction and the grip. It's kind of becoming what it needs to be. It's kind of cool. I think a lot of people saw this outsole and they were quite taken back. How on earth is that going to provide any grip? But actually it's just getting better and better. Although those energy rods are burning through even more. So weird. Just gotta say, there is no flex at all. I'm really trying there, guys. It does not flex. I think road and pavement have just mottled down that rubber a little bit, and now we're left with a slightly more coarse nature, and it really works a treat on that road and pavement. So overall, a much improved opinion on the shoe after today's run. Good to take the shoe up over the half marathon distance. It gives me a much better view on the shoe, more sort of ammunition for my arsenal. That 14 miles takes us to 40 miles for the week, about 64 kilometers. So I'm about 10 down from my normal 50-mile week. But hey, you know, did a marathon last weekend, so should have probably run a lot less miles than 40 really. Good to be getting some more miles in though. No injuries to speak of, no discomfort, nothing, just feeling really good. So as of Sunday, 18th of October, we're way over my target for the year. I'm at 1,848 miles now for 2020, 2,974 kilometers. It's a lot of running I've done. So well on course for over 2,000 miles. Maybe I'll take it to like 2020 or something for 2020. Have you managed to grab a pair of the Adidas Adizero Adios Pro? What do you make of these energy rod fueled beauties? I wasn't too sure about them to start with, but that was a fantastic run today. Thoroughly enjoyable. The miles just flew by like a bird. I'll keep ploughing some more miles into this one and get back to you when I hit 100 perhaps. Shout out to Mr. Kev Burmaster. Later on this week, Kev, I will sort out that video for you. A request from a viewer and good buddy. It'll be the Fuel Cell RC Elite versus the Adidas Adizero Adios Pro. Quick musical interlude for you. I've been listening again to my best of Scott Walker and the Walker Brothers. A lot of people know the track No Regrets. That was quite a big hit for them back in the 70s. There's some much better tracks on the best of. Things like Joanna, that's a wonderful tune. And also The Lights of Cincinnati. Such atmosphere fueled tracks. You can almost imagine this guy, you know, sat on a plane looking out of the window and you can just see the lights there. They're almost there. The Sun Ain't Gonna Shine Anymore as well is a fantastic tune. A big wall of sound, that track. I think a lot of people like the Walker Brothers material or they like Scott Walker's material. There's very few people who like both. I'm kind of there. I kind of like some of the Walker Brothers stuff, but Scott Walker's material is quite challenging and interesting. Almost like looking at a load of paintings in a gallery. Sometimes you really like the paintings and sometimes you don't like them, but you kind of want to keep looking at them. It's that kind of thing. It's time for me to get some much needed sleep and recharge those batteries. The watch was telling me my body battery was getting a bit low, so I think that means I need some more flapjack and pizza. Thanks for watching through to the very end of the video today, guys. I would very much appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button and click the bell below for notifications of when we launch those new videos. It really helps the channel out too if you give this video a thumbs up like and share it with your running buddies. My name's EDDBUD. and I'll be seeing you.